Frequent flyers of Reddit. What are your airport life hacks? Make sure to pet the plane right before you get on and tell it that it is a good plane. I do that every time and the plane never crashes. If it takes more than 20 minutes for you to get your bag when you fly with Delta, you can get 2,500 sky miles by putting in a request here. Less than. If you have a lot of time to kill, find the area in baggage claim where pets are reunited with their owners. It's a blast watching those dogs get out of their carriers, and they all behave differently. There's a clip in the film Up in the Air where George Clooney basically profiles the respective people in the security line. Watch it, everything he touches on is correct. Then choose your line accordingly. TLDR equals line up with business travelers. It doesn't matter how much time you think you have before your flight. Find your gate first and confirm it is the right one for your flight. Then set an alarm on your phone to give you plenty of time to get back in time to board. Missing your flight because you don't realize how far away your gate is will be a mistake you only make once, but better to not make at all. 1. You will lose luggage eventually. Be ready for that by having cash and essentials for overnight on your person. 2. If the overhead bins are completely full, they'll usually check your bag free, so no need to worry about rushing the door before your group is called. Chill out. Wait for your group. You'll be fine. 3. Netflix episodes can be downloaded to watch offline. Great for when there's no in-flight Wi-Fi. Pilot here, so that kinda counts. Here's some insider tips. 1. This website lists the airport and airline lounge Wi-Fi passwords for most airports around the world. Enjoy the free Wi-Fi. 2. There are two kinds of bags, those that get destroyed in cargo bins, and those that destroy other bags in cargo bins. Get the second kind of bag. Buy an aluminum frame luggage work stealth bag, or a Travel Pro. It's what all crew members use for a reason. 3. The flight attendants have heard every single attempt from passengers to lie and cajole their way into first class. If you want better treatment and maybe an upgrade, bring a box full of truffles or chocolates. Treat them like people, and be very nice to them. If there is any opening in a nicer seat, they just might hook it up. If you do get an upgrade, don't boast about it to anyone. You could get the crew in trouble and they'll never do that again. Go to run, but I have a lot more that I'll post later if there's any interest. Edit did not expect this to. I'll take off like it did. So here's some more. Thanks for the gold status as well. 4. If you are traveling internationally, sign up for global entry. It takes about an hour to fill out all the forms and you schedule a brief interview with a TSA representative who makes sure you aren't a crazy terrorist. But after that you essentially get to skip all the customs lines after returning to the US from an international trip. Trust me, it's worth it. Use TSA pre-check when traveling domestically as well. 5. Take a picture of where you park so that when you return from a long trip, you remember. The employee parking lot at LAX is huge and I hate wandering around looking for my car. 6. Do a little bit of homework and research the layouts of the airports you'll be flying into, especially regarding what airline fly out of what terminals. Do this before you book tickets so you can be sure you make connecting flights. I'm LAX based, and the entire airport is divided into separate terminals. If you arrive on Frontier and need to make a connecting flight on Delta, you have to exit security, then budget about 45 minutes, if you're fast, to either walk or take a bus from the Frontier terminal to the Delta terminal. Go through security again, and walk to your gate. It's amazing how many passengers flying through LAX leave 30 minutes to make a connection when they'll have to change terminals, which essentially guarantees you'll miss your flight. Just a little planning ahead will prevent things like this from happening. 7. Bit of a morbid one, but like they teach us in flight training, dress to egress. Wear non-synthetic clothing and closed-toed shoes, not flip-flops, Birkenstocks etc. In the highly unlikely event of an accident, over 70% of all crashes are survivable. By the way, pay attention to the safety briefing, or an evacuation. You want closed-toed shoes so you don't subject your feet to jet fuel, hydraulic fluid, debris, whatever else happens to be in the immediate vicinity of the aircraft. Non-synthetic clothing will just plain burn when subjected to heat, whereas synthetic material will melt to your skin. Not exactly something you want to think about when going on a trip. but it's good to plan for the worst case scenario. 8. Consider leaving one ear open when wearing headphones at the airport, or turning down the volume considerably. People have missed their flights because they had their music turned up too high to hear the boarding announcements. 9. Bring a modem with you in case of an emergency. Seriously. 10. This isn't as much of a hack as it is common sense, but be a courteous passenger. If you have the window seat, you get a nice view and a wall to lean your head up against. Leave the shade open for takeoff and landing, but other than that keep it closed so people can sleep. If you're in the aisle seat, you get a little extra space for your outside leg and arm, and easy lavatory access. The guy in the middle seat gets both armrests because middle seats ducking suck. 11. If you lose or forget your phone charger, go to the airport lost and found. If they have any extras lying around, they'll just give them to you if they've been there long enough, usually 90 days. 12. If weather maintenance delays whatever is screwing you, and the airline sends you to the impossibly long customer service line where 600 people wait in line to be helped by a single poor CSA, call the airline's customer support line while waiting in line. They'll do the same thing the CSA can do and it's probably quicker. Calling while waiting in line ensures you get help ASAP. 13. A few useful websites. Pick the best seat on the plane. Official FAA website for flight delays at major US airports. Aviation weather website, if you care. Flio has been a useful app for some frequent flyers. Want to see all non-stop flights from A to B, or at least the quickest way to get there? AskReddit is what all crew members use to plan their commutes and is useful for frequent flyers and the average traveler as well. More than 14. Date marry a pilot. Fly for free, less than. 15. Consider flying on JetSuite or any other one of the budget private airlines that are popping up. For less than an airline ticket, you fly on a private airplane between the same cities the airlines serve, except into smaller, less busy airports. Notes are lines, no checking your bags, and far less hassle. 16. How to never, ever forget anything in a hotel room again. Put one or both of your shoes next to on top of items in your airport hotel room that you don't want to forget. You aren't leaving your hotel without wearing your shoes, and when you find those shoes to put on, you'll also find the items they are co-located with. This trick has saved me countless times. 17. Airport chapels are a great place to get some sleep. Get to the airport tired so that it's easier to sleep on the flight. Sleeping on an airplane can be wonderful. The ambient white noise and gentle motion is very soothing. Early morning flights FTWs are a lot less can go wrong with the first flight of the day. That plane is typically there overnight so you aren't waiting on crew or equipment. Security lines are shorter. Traffic to the airport sucks less. Reclining, especially in steerage, is a moral failing and should be avoided at all costs. I learned the hard way my first time flying overseas. Drink a ton of water while you're waiting on your layover. Just bring an empty canteen or aluminum water bottle to fill up at fountains. I know you don't want to get up to pee all the time, but on a long haul flight you'll get sick, bloated, head itchy, and dried out if you don't hydrate. Drink up. You'll thank me later. If you've got a long layover, especially if you're on your own, book yourself into the lounge. The time absolutely flies by. There are drinks and food, and you can chill out on the Wi-Fi in a comfortable seat. Most places will give you 3 hours, but I've never been anywhere that actually checks, unless you're really taking the piss, and it costs about you a cute 25. But it makes an arduous journey a lot less of a pain in the ass. 1. This isn't a hack but more a tip to other travelers because it's my pet peeve. Stand back from the baggage claim carousel. When everyone stands right next to it, it's difficult to see ahead to find your bag and also provides limited space and time once your bag is near you to pull it off the carousel without hitting someone else. If everyone stands back a few feet, it's much easier to see and just walk up right when your bag arrives and you'll have space should it be a little bit of a struggle to get the bag off the carousel. 2. Wash your hands more than usual. Airports have tons of people going through them and a lot of ways to come into contact with germs. 3. If you fly a lot, don't buy cheap luggage. I also recommend 4-wheel bags because it's nice to be able to wheel them flat to maneuver or when your arms get tired. Carry a backup battery for your phone. You never know when your flight may be cancelled or delayed. Know what to do before you get to that cell line. Like have your ID and boarding pass out ready to go. Take off your shoes. Move your laptop, tablet, etc. Watch those ahead of you and see what they do if you don't know. On that note, wear shoes that you can quickly slip off on. If you're gonna be on a long flight, be sure to empty your bladder before you get on the plane and don't drink too much water, soda, whatever while in flight. Getting to the bathroom can be a rich, unwritten rule. At least for me, person in the middle gets both armrests. I always let them have it. Don't give the stewards any it. They have a tough enough job. Be nice and say please thank you when they serve you. When you deplane, I've always heard that the pilots like it if you compliment their landing. That said, I always try to when I get off the plane. Edit. After many people disagreeing on my advice about not drinking too much water on flights, I'd like to retract that particular advice. I was wrong. Thanks. D. Been flying for a long time. Here's something a little different but useful to some. Tips for traveling when you have an illness. Background. I have an invisible disability. You would never know anything is wrong with me by looking at me. When I fly alone I always talk to the check-in desk about whom I should speak with about my illness before boarding, in case anything should happen. Sometimes they will pre-board you so you have more time to sort it out with flight crew. Also, a flight attendant friend said crew always appreciate a treat if you are asking for something extra of them. So I always bring a little bag of chocolates for the flight attendants. You have no idea the grateful responses I have gotten for this small gesture. And it helps me that they know where I am sitting etc. In case of a problem, I wear a medical alert bracelet and keep a list of my meds amounts time of day I take in case there's a problem. Also keep meds in their original pharmacy bottles with your name on them in your carry-on luggage. It's helpful to think ahead, and I have luckily never had a major problem when flying alone thanks to being prepared. If you openly masturbate you can have both armrests. You wanna know the secret to surviving air travel? After you get where you're going, take off your shoes and your socks then walk around on the rug barefoot and make fists with your toes. After traveling to the same cities multiple times, I make sure to know what each airport has to offer in case I have extra time there. For instance, Portland has a great little free theater with local short films. Many airports have massage places. Midway has a free use yoga studio. Sitting around being bored is for suckers. Not necessarily a life hack, but don't use the moving walkway if you're just going to stand there. Some people have tough connecting flights on the opposite side of the airport, and those walkways can make a huge difference for them. Plus it's fun as it to walk on those things. Why people will just stand there dumbfounds me. LPT. Always check in online as soon as your flight opens, usually 23 hours before, depending on the airline, if possible. Not only does this allow you to choose your seat, it also puts the chances on your side in case of overbooking. Ensures there are no problems with your reservation. It does happen, and it's just more convenient. Bonus. Poop before you get on the plane. Airplane toilets suck. 1. Get there early, like earlier than the 2 hours recommended. There is little more stressful than the realistic possibility of missing your flight. Put everything in your carry-on before the security check itself. Capital C. Bring a portable battery to charge your devices off of. Can be hard impossible to find a free outlet. IV. No need to rush the aircraft door. You have a reserved seat. 5. Drink water when on the flight. Take an empty bottle through security. Fill up afterward. Eat before you get to the airport. Food can be extremely expensive and not always good quality. If you have a problem with a flight, the person working at the counter is both the one person who can help you and the one person who is in no way responsible for causing your problem. Treat them like your salvation, and don't let loose on them the anger you have for the airline. If you're having a bad day, there's a good chance they've dealt with 300 people who are also having the same bad day. If they look like it, offer to get them a coffee. Aviation is an incredibly complex system with a million moving parts and dozens of interrelated processes that are all difficult to predict, and which require people from a half dozen specialties to understand their bit and communicate it with all the others, but which all get distilled into your flight is 30 minutes late. Reason: late flight. Roll with it. You probably won't get a satisfying reason why things are late. And time estimates come with huge error bars and lots of guesstimates. On a related note, none of the employees gets to go home until you do. They're not dragging their feet. Just feels that way because you're in a hurry. Bring earplugs if sleeping or spending a night are a possibility. Airport PAs are constant and loud. And they seem doubly loud late at night without the background noise of crowds. Sit outside the VIP lounges and get free Wi-Fi. Do not, under any circumstances, get the £1 burrito with extra queso before boarding your flight. Bring a surge protector to plug into a wall outlet on layovers so more people can charge their stuff. Study the terminal maps before you get to a connecting airport. Knowing where you're going, especially with limited time to make a connecting flight, is a godsend. If it's a domestic flight where you won't get your own screen, download the airline's entertainment app beforehand, so you can access their entertainment on your device during the flight. You also might want to bring your own earphones, but the airline will supply some if they also supply entertainment. If it's an international flight, bring a USB cable for your phone. There will probably be an outlet for you to charge it at your seat. Compression socks, especially if you are traveling for a long period of time, or have been actively walking, exploring etc. at your destination prior to departure. Walked my damn feet off on a week-long study abroad trip to Dubai. Wore slip-on shoes on the plane. Every single one of us, 15 plus people, couldn't wear our shoes after the first flight as our feet and calves had swelled up so much. Being unable to raise your legs to rest them while on a 12-hour flight, unbelievably painful. No sleep, makes connecting flights and that whole process such a literal pain. Worst travel experience of my life. Real tip I haven't seen yet: when you get to your gate, check with the agent to see if you can get into an exit row or medium level upgrade. Sometimes they'll give it to you for free and sometimes they'll tell you no. Worst case scenario, you're still in exactly the same position you were and you now have to wait 3 less minutes. Second, get the app for whatever airline you're flying. If they don't have an app, try not to use them. The features can sometimes be worthless and not very helpful. Southwest, but having a duplicate boarding pass with constant updates on your flight status can make or break an experience. Last and probably more controversial, check your bag. Everyone here is saying only roll with a carry-on, but in my experience, 50k miles last year and 60k the year before, it's much easier to manage drop-off and pick up of a bag than to wrangle it all the way through both airports and a third for a layover. Edit: I've seen a lot of people talking about losing a bag. The airlines have gotten so much better with technology and logistics about bags. Every single thing about bag handling has gotten faster and better over the last 5 years. But why MMV? The white zone is for loading and unloading only. Do not stop in the red zone. 1. Take a picture of your passport. Keep a copy on your phone and a hard copy in your luggage. 2. Take a picture of your luggage. If it is lost, showing the picture to the lost luggage person helps a lot. If you get stuck in a middle seat, you can put a coat or blanket over your legs and tuck it under you to hold your legs relatively close together. This will allow you to fully relax your leg muscles without bumping into your neighbors. Take all that stuff out of your pockets before you get to the security checkpoint and put it in a small compartment on your carry-on. Now you have one less thing to juggle while trying to keep your belt less pants up after going through the X-ray machine. I carry one of those neck pillows in its neck pillow bag clipped onto my carry-on. I put everything in there I want to have quick access to in the flight. My tablet, headphones, cables, and a pen if flying international. That way I don't have to get up and try digging through my carry-on after I'm already seated. Plus I'll leave that stuff in there and it doesn't have to touch the inside of the seat back pocket. Dress professionally but comfortably. Insiders repeatedly point out that those dress nicely are most likely to get upgrades, but people also just take professionally dressed people more seriously. Things go wrong. That's life. But if you have to talk to someone in a position of authority for any reason, you're better off wearing a nice button-up shirt and dress pants as opposed to pajama pants and that stain-covered sweatshirt you've had since high school. And for goodness sakes, groom yourself. People show up to airports looking worse than homeless people. I'm on flights 8-10x or more times per month, generally across the US but some international. Here are some things that I have learned over the years of being a frequent flyer. 1. Never check a bag. Packing lighter is almost always possible. Choose clothes that can be mixed matched to give more combinations for a longer trip. 2. Expect problems, delays, cancellations, etc. It's generally not the gate agent's fault, so don't be an aggressive jerk to him or her. They want to help and will usually be far less helpful to those that are being rude or shouting about how they are diamond, platinum, gold status. 3. Get a pair of noise cancelling wireless headphones. I have those as I used to work there and like their headsets the best. I also use their aviation headset for flying small planes. They're not cheap but they make a big difference in the overall experience. 4. Drink a lot of water. Planes are pressurized to a higher altitude than sea level. You can get dehydrated faster. Also, careful with booze. 5. When exiting the plane, it isn't a race from the back of the plane through the people that were sitting in front of you. You'll get a chance to exit, I promise. Just wait and allow those in front of you to exit first. Have your bags as ready to go as possible, but if they are out of reach, just wait. Sit next to the middle-aged guy wearing a suit in the airport bar. Strike up a conversation and offer to buy him a drink. Chances are he'll flip the script and let you know he's got a corporate card and it's on him. Works 60% of the time every time. Pack half the clothes and twice the money. If you have to check a bag, keep changes of underwear with you in your carry-on. Over-the-ear headphones are much more comfortable for long-haul flights than on-ear or buds. Start doing stretches to limber up your hips and back a few weeks before a long flight. Don't use public Wi-Fi. If you have to, use a VPN. If you plan on having a couple drinks and or food and have 2+ hours until your flight, research the airport lounges ahead of time and consider them. They're usually all you can drink and all you can eat. Have comfier chairs, are quieter, have power outlets and nice bathrooms. And they are usually cheaper than a restaurant or bar, a lot cheaper. Also, you usually buy lounge passes based on the time you want to spend, i.e. $40 for 2 hours, $70 for 4 hours, etc. Nobody is keeping time. Trust me, just get the shortest one you can get. When I used to travel, I would have a laptop bag and my carry-on. When going through security line, I'd send my stuff in this order. 1. Laptop bag backpack. 2. Laptop. 3. Shoes, belt pocket stuff. 4. Luggage. Laptop bag comes out of the X-ray machine. Stuff your laptop in your bag. Stack tray underneath your next tray that has your phone, wallet, etc. Grab your luggage and get the duck out of line. Don't stop and put your belt on. Grab your it. Get out of line. There are plenty of benches for you to get yourself together. There's no reason to cause congestion in the security line. If you're at the gate waiting and your flight is delayed, figure out where your airline's customer service desk is and stand on the side of the crowd closer to that direction. If your flight gets cancelled for whatever reason, speed walk as fast as you can to the customer service desk before the rest of the people at the gate figure out what is going on. When a flight is cancelled, the first thing the airline does is try to rebook passengers on the next available flight to their destination, and if there are only 3 empty seats on the next flight, a bum duck wherever you want to make sure you are one of the first 3 people in line. Always carry on. Never check a bag, unless you absolutely have to. Use a backpack, or something similar that will fit under the seat in front of you, so there's no worry about lack of overhead space. Avoid Philadelphia at all costs. Carry a water bottle, empty through security, of course. Fill up at fountains, because duck airport prices. Similarly, carry snacks. Beef jerky and Cliff bars take up little room, and are much cheaper than airport snacks. Avoid Philadelphia like the plague. Buy a cheap neck brace, the medical kind. Way better than those stupid horse show pillows for sleeping sitting upright. Bring a sleep mask. Don't fly through Philadelphia, especially if you need to check a bag. You'll likely never see your stuff again. If you have a connecting flight, Google what airport you're going to before you take off from your first flight and map out where you need to go once you land. On rare occasions and depending on gate location, walking to the next terminal can actually be faster than taking the rail. Check for flight updates when you land and every half hour or so when you aren't near your gate. You can Google your flight number and get a plethora of information that usually updates every 20 minutes or so. Always find your gate. Make sure info and time is correct, then go wander off to a restaurant or whatnot. And leave yourself enough time. Don't be that person that arrives at their gate number 10 minutes before departure to find their flight has been moved over 2 terminals.